Kakadosh Boker or Bekiim Bahalacha, day 8. It says over here like this: Halacha Kafhei Lemala Suma. Right, we're talking about an iver, a blind person. So it says over here like this: blind or deaf. Even blind people are obligated to say the bracha. Avanotela sechvi bina. All the poskim agree with this. Okay, it says here below in Halacha 27, it's explained that a blind person should not say pokeach ivrim, but he could say Anotela sechvi bina because he could still hear. All poskim agree with this, but according to some poskim, a deaf person may not say the bracha because he's incapable of hearing the roosters crow. Others ruled that it does not matter. Yeah, it does not matter whether the individual can hear it, since the morning blessing was to thank Hashem on the nature of the world. Therefore, even if someone is deaf, he could still say the bracha, and this is the accepted ruling. Look in the bottom, 15. This is the ruling of Maran and Rishon LeZion. In the Yalkut Yosef, he explained that there is nothing in the text of the blessing to suggest that the deaf person should not be able to recite it, especially since the blessing was instituted to thank Hashem for everything that happened in the world. So therefore, it's not for each individual's experiences. Deaf people also understand the difference between day and night, and therefore they can say the bracha. A number of Rishonim cited in Halacha Brura concurring with this ruling. The Magen Avraham likewise ruled that a deaf person may say the bracha, although he ruled that a blind person cannot say pokeach ivrim. The Pri Chadash and Arav Moshe Zakut ruled that even a blind person could say pokeach ivrim, we give sight to the blind, although our practice is to instruct the blind people from not reciting it, based on the principle of Rabbi Elmaleh said that there's a much broader basis to permit deaf people to say Anotela sechvi. Meaning, even if you wanted to say sabal, for what? For a blind person to say pokeach ivrim because he can't, he's an iver. But here to do Anotela sechvi mina, the deaf person still understands one's night and day. So because of that, you could still make the bracha, a person could still make the bracha. Some explanation is needed here. Since the Agaot Mamaniot ruled that the deaf person cannot say the bracha, it's just like a blind person saying pokeach ivrim. So we should also say saveh bracha lakel. So apparently, Maran and Rishon LeZion took the text of the blessing into account. The blessings of pokeach ivrim is mamash giving sight to the blind. Pokeach, right? Ivrim, iver, to the blind. He says, Anotela sechvi bina does not mention the ability to hear. It doesn't say anything about hearing, the rooster crow. It just says about giving an understanding to know the difference. The concept of the blessing, right, is the intelligence to distinguish between day and night. And because of that, that's why he says that you're able to say it. Okay, that's the Shita of Rav Ovadia. Okay, next, 26, Kavav, Pokeach Ivrim. While people sleep at night, their eyes are normally shut. So even if their eyes are open, people cannot make conscious use of what they see. Therefore, when we wake up in the morning, we make the bracha of Pokeach Ivrim. He who gives sight to the blind. So thank Kadosh Baruch Hu for the ability to see. Makes sense. We make a bracha. Why? Even during the nighttime, you couldn't really see anything. Now you could see. Okay. 27. If a blind person insists on saying the bracha pokeach ivrim, so then we should not protest. There is sound basis to permit him to say the bracha, and if a blind person asks a rabbi whether he should say it or not, the rabbi should say, don't say it, based upon the principle of safek berachot leakel. Okay, that means one more time. If he asks the rabbi, the answer is no. But if he doesn't care and he's doing it anyway, just leave him. Don't say him. Okay? 16 on the bottom. According to the Magen Avraham, a blind person may not recite the blessing of Pokeach Ivrim. The Pri Chadash, however, ruled that he may say it, just as he may say the bracha v'yotzer meorot, although he cannot see daylight or not. Right? That means what? You're going to tell me that a blind person does not say yotzer meorot in the brachot of Kriyat Shema? What is yotzer meorot? He created the lights, the illuminations. So what? He doesn't say the bracha? So he says he still benefits from daylight. Why? Because that helps other people to help him. So in the same way, he could thank Hashem for the people's ability to see, since others who are sighted can assist him. Harav Moshe Zakut, cited in the Sheyareh Beracha, concurred with the Pri Chadash, adding that even the Rambam agrees that a blind man may recite the blessing, although he ruled that one must experience each benefit in order to be obligated to recite the blessing. The fact that others can see and guide him is considered a direct benefit of the gift of sight. It's a direct benefit. Okay? Fine.
אבל אם נחזור לקודם, even the blind person.
So the Pri Chadash said that you could make the bracha, even though he cannot see it. He benefits from daylight since it enables other people to see and lead him to where he needs to arrive. Okay? In the same way, he could say the thank you to Hashem for the ability to see, since other people can help him. The Rav Moshe Zakut cited in Shirei Bracha concur with the Pri Chadash, adding that even the Rambam agrees that the blind person could make the bracha. The fact that others can see and guide him, that's already a direct benefit. Meaning, that's the reason why he's making the bracha. Other people could help him. The Matei Yehuda, in the defense of Magen Avraham, explained that the blessing of Pokeach Ivrim is an expression of thanks for the personal benefit of the gift of sight, and it cannot be expressed as thanking for other people for seeing. We cannot compare it to the blessing of Yotzer HaMeorot, because there the blessing describes the creation of the sun, nothing to do with that we could see the sun. Meaning Yotzer HaMeorot is HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the sun. That already is a blessing. It has nothing to do with us seeing the sun. If a person's underground, they're not going to make Yotzer HaMeorot. For sure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the sun, the moon. That in itself, nothing to do with we could see it or not see it. The one might argue that a blind person should be required to make the blessing of Pokeach Ivrim, since we follow the school that teaches that we do not write the blessing for our personal experiences, but rather for the general. Even yoter chazak. 1 second. What did we just learn? We kept on learning that these berachot is not a personal experience. For example, let's say I'm not going to wear shoes today. I'm not going to make a beracha shasale kutzari. Of course you do. Or you're not going to put on a belt. You're not going to make a beracha. Of course you're going to make a berachot. So it's on the general experience. So if we use that train of thought, this is also the general experience. So you should make the beracha then. And that's what we kept on saying. If so, even someone who's blind should also thank Hashem. This is not a valid argument, however. Why? Regarding all other blessings, the halacha is that one is obligated to say them, even if he's not personally experienced the benefits that they describe. But this is because the person could potentially have experienced them. Regarding the blessing of Pokeach Ivrim, he cannot. Meaning, this is a famous concept in the Gemara. Meaning like this. Are you allowed to go into the mikveh with contact lenses? No. Why? It's a chatzitza. But I'm going to ask you a question. When you go into the mikveh, do you have to open up your eyes? No. So why not? If you can leave your eyes closed, so what do you care if I have contact lenses or not? The answer is that as long as I don't have a chatzitza in my eye, I have no obligation to open up my eyes. But if I have a chatzitza in my eye, which means that if I would open up my eye, there would be a chatzitza. So even though I don't need to open up my eyes, it's a chatzitza. You understood? Meaning, if right now there's no chatzitza, so then, for example, I've got something in my teeth. Do you have to open up your mouth in the mikveh? You don't have to open up your mouth in the mikveh. Exactly, yeah. You don't have to open up your mouth. But let's say I come and I put a cracker in my mouth, right? And I go into the mikveh. It's a chatzitza. But why chatzitza? I don't have to open up my mouth. The answer is because now that I have something, mastic or anything, right? Now that I have the chatzitza there, now it's makev. Because I'm not able to do it anymore. Meaning, as long as I was able to do it, I was like, so the same thing here. Here, if you're able to see, even if you don't see because you're underground, you still make the bracha. But if the person cannot see, so therefore now he can't make the bracha. He doesn't need to see, doesn't matter. But he cannot see anymore. And the fact that he cannot see, that stops him from making the bracha. That's the concept. Okay? The Matei Yehuda suggested proof to this position from the ruling of Hagal Maminiot, brought down on the Bet Yosef, that if there are no roosters in the area, or if a person's deaf, he does not make the bracha. In the same way, a blind person cannot make the bracha. Maran Rishon LeZion suggests an additional proof to the Matei Yehuda, right position from the response of Rabbeinu Abraham ben Rambam, who complained bitterly about a community who had appointed a regular cantor who was blind. And he daily recited this on behalf of the congregation, and incidentally, is a direct refutation of the position of Rav Moshe Zakut, who suggested that even the Rambam agreed that a blind person could say the brachot. And Matei Yehuda argued in the diametric position that even the school that ruled that it is not necessary to experience such a benefit personally agrees, right, that a blind person cannot make the bracha. Okay? Rabbi Yudayash, usually. I think it's Rabbi Yudayash. The Shalmet Tzibur, right, cited in Od Yosef Chai, suggested that there is some justification for those who rule that a blind person may make the bracha, based on interpretation of Rabbeinu David Abraham. He noted that people are not actually blind while they're asleep. It's just that their eyes are shut and they don't see what they could potentially see. The term Pokeach Ivrim does not mean give sight to the blind, but rather inspire the unobservant to notice. So this is like Mordechai's pshat. The concept of the blessing, therefore, is that Hashem gives a conscious person ability of being astute and noticing certain things around him in all senses. And this is a true blind person as people as well.
Yes.
Meaning, that means he's giving him the sense to see what's going on, even though it could be that they're not blind. Meaning, this is like Mordechai said. The pshat of Pukeach Ivrim is not that before you could not see and now you could see. He's giving you the ability to see clearer things that maybe you didn't pay attention to before. That means a person that's asleep, maybe, but that's Rabbi David Budurham. Okay? So now...
אמרתי, זה לא פשט,
זה פשט, רבי דוד בן-גוריון.
הוא אומר זה הפשט?
לא, הוא אומר, לפי הפשט שלו, זה הפשט.
זה הפשט.
זה הפשט. He says, the Mishnah Berurah and the Ben Ish Chai, though, ruled in practice the blind person should not make the bracha. They could make the bracha, since he benefits from other people. That's the Ben Ish Chai and the Mishnah Berurah. In the newly published Bekiim, the author explained that this ruling is based upon the Rizal HaKadosh, that basically it's the general public and, that everyone's benefiting. Okay? Therefore, although a blind person does not benefit, other people do benefit. Maran Rav Ovadia, he concluded that we cannot protest if a blind, so because of that, meaning they're using the Arizal HaKadosh now for the Tovat, the blind person, and saying that if the Arizal HaKadosh says that even if you're not benefiting, you could still benefit, so to here you could benefit, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, it's for the general public. So then he says that Rishon LeZion said that because of that, you can't tell a person off if he wants to make the bracha, but if he does ask you what's best to do, you have to do like Rabbi Avraham ben Rambam and the Golmaniyot and everything, that you don't make a bracha. Although we do not follow the ruling of Maran regarding the morning blessings in general, it is best to limit this exception wherever possible, and instead follow the principle of Saveh Berachol Hakel, the Chesed Avram al Kalai. And other poskim also ruled that even in a case when the common custom is it permits one to recite the blessing, if someone chooses to refrain from reciting it because there are poskim rule that it may not be recited, he is recommended, right? He is commended, for his caution and will be blessed from heaven. Meaning that, kol hakavod, that he's doing that and he's not making the bracha. This certainly applies to the case also of a blind person. Okay, Rav Moshe Levi ruled that blind people may say the bracha, but this does not detract from the argument of Rishon LeZion, especially since Shulchan Aruch follows the opinion that one must personally experience it in order to make the bracha. Meaning basically like this, if you go like Maran, you always have to experience it and only then can you make the bracha. Correct? Mm-hmm. So according to Maran, that's the only way. So if a person cannot open up their eyes for whatever reason for 24 hours, he would not make the bracha. Yeah, that's according to Maran. So Rav Ovadia is trying to say, so because of that, even though we don't go like Maran, when we can, we should go like Maran. That's what he's trying to say. Okay? Number 28, we are talking about now changing blessings in the middle. If someone makes the bracha Baruch Atah Hashem, and he was going to say Pukeach Ivrim, and then he became confused, and he said Matir Asurim. So he may no longer say the bracha of Pukeach Ivrim, and he may not repeat the blessing of Matir Asurim either.
Repeat, he said it already.
You're right. Matir Asurim obviously not, but Pukeach Ivrim not. But if he just said the words Baruch Atah Hashem while intending to recite a specific blessing, and then he realized that he is not up to that blessing, he may not switch to recite the ending of one he's up to, or of any other blessing. Instead, he must continue and complete the blessing that he had in mind when reciting the opening words. Okay, let's see this halacha. Very interesting halacha. Yeah? According to the Rambam, if someone recited the words Baruch Atah Hashem while intending to continue with Pukeach Ivrim, then even if he ends with the blessings Matir Asurim, he fulfilled the obligation for Pukeach Ivrim and is not obligated for Matir Asurim. He did 2 for 1. Shamata, 2 for 1. Yeah? The majority of these Shonim, however, ruled exactly the opposite. He has fulfilled the obligation of Matir Asurim, but not Pukeach Ivrim. The Shulchan Aruch brings down the Rambam's opinion as halacha, and then mentioned that there's another opinion. Right? That means Maram brings down both opinions. The Rambam, that you are Yotzei Chuvah both, and then the other opinion. The Mishnah Berurah, however, ruled in practice, followed the other opinion. In practice, we follow the principle of Saveh Berachol Hakel, and we do not repeat Pukeach Ivrim or Matir Asurim. The Or LeZion explained that the logic of the Rambam's ruling. See more about this in Yalkut Yosef and Birkot in English, 2091. So there, he doesn't bring it down here. Why? But there he's going to explain it. Like, what's the svara of the Rambam? How could it be your Yitzchak both Birachot? Like Manoshach, it could only be one, right? Yeah. But not both. A slip of the tongue. The Mishnah Berurah ruled that if someone intended to recite the blessing of Pukeach Ivrim, but in the end said Malbish Harumim, escaped his mouth, as long as he corrected himself within the 1 second, he's fulfilled the obligation of reciting Pukeach Ivrim. This is the opinion of many Acharonim, but the Sharet Shuvah and the Gul Mirvah, they remain unconvinced that this is true. They're not really sure. Okay, well, this was at the Shem we finished.